Alright, this is the first of many videos which I'm entitling '07 Lectures. This episode is going to cover Nightmare Zone. It's mainly for pures, but you could adapt it for mains if you desire. You just have to do all the research yourself. Getting on point, Nightmare Zone, the first thing you want to go for is prayer bonus if you're using the prayer potion method. And to do that, your optimal setup will be displayed on screen here. For pures, the maximum prayer bonus you can obtain is 31 or 32 depending on the setup you have. And with prayer bonus, the typical rule of thumb is every one prayer bonus you have gives you, 0.1 seconds of uptime. So with this setup, you will effectively be making your prayers last for 200% of the duration. And for your 5% prayers, those last for 18 seconds before you get a drain, 10% prayers last 12 seconds, and 15% last 6 seconds. Overheads also last 6 seconds. And for your cape, you could use a fire cape, which gives you +2 prayer, +4 strength, which increases your max hit by 1, and also gives you +1 across the board for your attack styles. In comparison, you could use a vestment cloak, like a Saradomin cloak, which gives you +3 prayer. That gives you the extra 0.1 seconds uptime, but you're losing out on that 1 attack bonus across the board and that potential 1 max hit. Moving on, a common misconception is that you want to use the Berserker Ring Imbued when you're in Nightmare Zone. All that does is increase your max hit by 2. And if you think about it, when you're in Nightmare Zone, how often do you actually see your max hit? I've personally only seen it about, I don't know, maybe like 3 times, and I've been in there for hundreds upon hundreds upon hundreds of hours, and it's just a miserable time all around. And I went to the wrong ultra, that's fantastic. The Warrior Ring Imbued gives you +8 slash bonus, and depending on which weapon you use, here I'm going to be outlining 3 different weapons that you could use: the Dragon Longsword, Dragon Scimitar, and the Saradomin Sword. And each one respectively gives you 11%, 12%, and a 9.7% accuracy increase solely from the ring alone. But when you add an Unholy Book into the equation, your bonuses go up by 23%, 24%, and 19.5% effectively. This doesn't mean that you're going to be getting 23% and so on more experience. It just means that you're going to be hitting more accurately. And if you hit more accurately, that means you're going to get more XP per hour. And since you're going to be doing more damage, you're going to be getting more points, which effectively increases your return on investment. So you can get more rewards from the point shop. Next up, we're going to be talking about special attack weapons. A lot of people like to bring the Granite Maul, and while this is an excellent fucking weapon to use, it's highly recommended that you bring what's called an Ancient Mace. And this does require a bit of questing, but it's actually quite worth it if you look at it and break it down. What the Ancient Mace does is, when you special attack with it, depending on what you hit, you restore prayer equal to the damage you dealt. And this does have a bit of room for overspill. For example, I'm 52 prayer. If I hit a 13, that would put me at 65 prayer. I'm not exactly sure what the overspill amount is, or if it has a set amount, but the highest Are you fucking shitting me? And that will save you quite a few prayer potions over the course of your trip. My typical rule of thumb for that is every other power surge, you want to be investing in Ancient Mace specs. And you don't really want to do it past your overspill point. Like, for example, I don't really use the Ancient Mace special past 65 prayer because I just feel like it's a bit of a waste of time and I've never seen it go over that. And also because every spec that you're not using on a Granite Maul after you reach your overspill point is effectively an XP waste, so all this efficiency stuff with the Warrior Ring is pretty much wasted. And one thing I would like to mention about the Granite Maul is that it doesn't really use slash bonus, it uses crush, so the ring is wasted during that point, but it's not really a big deal. And on the topic of prayer, a lot of people use 15% or 10% while they're in Nightmare Zone, and a lot of people wrongly use the superhuman strength or strength prayers in general. This is not what you want to be doing. As this guide is oriented, it's set up more towards attack and accuracy. So what you're going to want to be doing is using one of the attack prayers. I personally use the 5% because that only drains 1 point every 18 seconds with the setup. And it just generally gives you an overall better trip. Because you are getting only 1 point reduced every 18 seconds in comparison to 1 every 12 with the 10%, or 1 every 6 with the 15%. Using this method, I've found that I get about, depending on how many power surges I get, 3 to 6k XP per hour more in comparison to when I'm not using the prayers whatsoever. And this may not seem like a lot, but when you're in Nightmare Zone and you're goaling for, like, let's say 99 strength and you're at 85, you're going to be in there for quite some time, maybe even at least 100 hours. So you can easily see that this all adds up, because if you get 3K an hour more and you're in there for 100 hours, that's 300K. That's the equivalent of being in there for about 4 to 6 additional hours, depending on what your setup is. So as you can see, it saves you quite a bit of time. And that about sums up this week's lecture. Next week, I'm not exactly sure what I'm going to be doing, but if you'd like to comment some other topics you'd like me to discuss and go further in depth on, I'd be absolutely ecstatic to research into it. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed today's lecture, and have a good day.